happy never room again. The book that I chose for you today is one of my favorite books. I loved reading it. I loved going through it once again and discover everything that I skipped or I didn't remember reading it for the first time. The tartan dress is not a coincidence because the story of this book is happening in Scotland. So I thought that's going to be a nice accent to put a Scottish tartan dress on. The book that I chose for you today is called Outlander. It's one of the 8 books written by Miss Gabaldon, and like I said, this is one of my favorite books. It's a mixture of historical fantasy, romance, adventure, little bit of science fiction as well. So if you like this kind of mixtures, if you like this kind of books, I can highly recommend it. Normally I don't read romances. I think it's a waste of time, but this book, despite its size, just totally stuck me in. I've read it in 2 days, and as you can see, 800 pages in 2 days, that must mean it's really good book. And yes, it is. So, what is this about? We meet Claire Randall, a British nurse that during the Second World War was separated with her husband Frank. And the moment that we meet Claire and Frank is the moment when they are reunited after the Second World War, and they are planning on going for their second honeymoon to the place where they've been just after their wedding. Frank is a history professor, so he likes to know everything about his past, about the past of his family. And in this little village, when they spend their second honeymoon, he finds out a lot of documents about his family. So most of the time he's busy with that, while Claire is going for long walks, gathering the herbs for her mixtures and just calming herself down after all experiences from the Second World War. During one of her walks, she gets on a hill with a circle of standing stones. And the moment she gets there, she starts hearing a very intense noise in her head, some kind of buzzing, and she faints. This is the moment when her life turns around, and the moment that she wakes up, everything looks totally different. She doesn't recognize the place that she fainted in. She doesn't know where she is. She starts to go down the hill to look for the house that she stayed together with Frank during their honeymoon. But turns out there is no house anymore. There's just huge forest and nothing else. The moment she walks back to the hill, she meets British soldiers, red coats. And that's the moment when she starts to get into trouble. It turns out that she goes back in time to Scotland in 18th century, torn by the war, torn by all the clans fighting together. She cannot understand what just happened. She wants to go back to Frank, she wants to go back to 1945. Like in every good romance book, there is a man. So except for Frank, we have another man, 18th century Highlander, Scottish Highlander, called James Fraser. The moment those two meet, Jamie is in the need of her help. He's wounded and she starts to take care of him. Very slowly, there is something starting to happen between those two. And she starts falling in love with Jamie. That's the moment where she has to choose between the fidelity and the desire and passion that she starts to feel to Jamie. Most of the book she struggles with the feeling that is starting to grow in her, and being faithful to her husband that she doesn't even know if she's gonna see again. How does it finish? Well, sometimes life is choosing for you. So this is what happens in this book. If you want to know more, you have to read it. Except for the book, there is a TV show as well, based on it, called the same, Outlander. That was the first season last year, and I must admit, when I started watching it, of course, when you read the book, you imagine all the characters yourself. You imagine how they look, how they talk, etc. So when I watched the first episode, I wasn't very happy with the choice of actors. Afterwards, you start to appreciate the whole. You start to appreciate how accurate the costumes are, how accurate the castles are, the whole scenery. And I really love the way they frame the scenes. They're absolutely beautiful. The magic of the light in the forest, the magic of the light in the castles. Everything is absolutely stunning. So I recommend to you both read the book first and then watch the TV show. This is one of the 8 books, so there is more. If you're hungry for more adventures of Claire, Frank and Jamie. If you really want to know something more about history of Scotland in 18th century, if you want to read a very good adventurous book with a lot of romance in it, I totally recommend you Outlander. So, I hope I interested you in this book. If you have any comments or questions, let me know underneath the video. And see you soon. Bye bye.